Welcome, everyone. Today, we are focusing on one of the most critical pillars of Microsoft 365 security, authorization. We will explore how to ensure that the right people have the exact right access to your corporate resources. Let's get started. To master Microsoft 365 security, you must first understand the hard line between authentication and authorization. Authentication is the bouncer at the front door checking your ID. It answers the question, "Who are you?" But once you are inside the building, authorization takes over. Authorization acts as the locked doors on the individual offices inside. It answers the question, "What are you allowed to do?" Just because you work here doesn't mean you get the keys to the HR file cabinet. In Microsoft 365, every interaction, whether reading an email, joining a Teams meeting, or opening a SharePoint document, requires explicit authorization. If we fail to design a strict authorization model, an attacker who steals a standard employee's password suddenly gains access to the entire company's intellectual property. We must build robust, granular authorization barriers to protect our data. Let's look at this workflow. A user makes a request on the left. The very first gate is authentication, proving their identity using credentials and MFA. Once they pass that gate, they don't immediately get the data. They hit the second, crucial gate, authorization. Here, the system evaluates their role, their group memberships, and the resource's security settings. If their assigned permissions match the required access, they flow to the top right, access granted. If not, they are immediately stopped with an access denied. This two-step verification process is the bedrock of cloud security. The guiding philosophy for all authorization in Microsoft 365 is the principle of least privilege. This principle dictates that users, applications, and services should only ever be given the absolute minimum level of access required to do their job, nothing more. Why is this so vital? Imagine a scenario where you make every IT staff member a global administrator just to make things easier. If one of their accounts is compromised through a phishing attack, the hacker instantly has supreme control over your entire tenant. By enforcing least privilege, we drastically reduce our attack surface. If an attacker breaches a marketing intern's account, they only gain access to marketing brochures, not the financial databases or enterprise security settings. Least privilege is the core of the zero-trust mindset. We assume a breach will happen, and we proactively build authorization walls to prevent the attacker from moving laterally across our environment. This diagram illustrates the three pillars of the zero-trust architecture. Notice how least privilege access sits directly in the center. From there, it branches downward into two vital actions, limiting user permissions and limiting application permissions. Both of these actions converge on the ultimate goal at the bottom, a reduced attack surface. By strictly governing authorization, we ensure that both human users and automated software tools are confined to their specific operational boundaries, mitigating the risk of widespread systemic damage. Now, let's talk about how we actually apply authorization efficiently. Assigning permissions on a user-by-user basis is a massive administrative mistake. It leads to human error, inconsistent access, and major security gaps when people change roles. The solution is group-based authorization. In Microsoft 365, we use Microsoft Entra ID groups, specifically security groups. You group users logically, perhaps by department or project, and then you assign authorization to the group object itself. If someone joins the finance team, you simply drop them into the finance read-only security group, and they instantly inherit authorization to view the confidential financial SharePoint libraries. When they leave, you remove them from the group, instantly revoking that access. This ensures that authorization is scalable, auditable, and tied directly to the user's current business function, completely eliminating the danger of lingering, orphaned permissions. Look at the efficiency modeled in this diagram. In the center, we have our Entra ID security group, which is globally authorized to access both a SharePoint site and an enterprise application. On the left, User 1 and User 2 are members of this group, so their authorization flows effortlessly through the group to the resources. Now look at User 3 at the bottom. The dotted lines represent an employee leaving the department. By simply removing User 3 from the group, the system severs the authorization link, and they instantly lose access to all connected resources. It is a single pane of control. Authorization applies to IT administrators just as strictly as it applies to end users. We govern administrative power using role-based access control, or RBC. RBC is the practical implementation of least privilege for IT. Rather than giving your helpdesk staff global administrator rights, you give them the helpdesk administrator role, which only authorizes them to reset passwords and troubleshoot login issues. If you have a compliance officer, you assign them the compliance administrator role, authorizing them to manage e-discovery and purview settings, but preventing them from altering Exchange mailboxes. By compartmentalizing these powers, you ensure that if an admin's account is compromised, the attacker only gains a very narrow slice of control. For highly complex enterprises, you can even build custom roles, explicitly selecting the exact backend permissions a user needs, and scoping those permissions to only affect a specific department or region. This flowchart demonstrates how RBAC divides authorization within an IT department. The department funnels into a role assignment decision point. Depending on the employee's job, they are assigned a distinct path. The global reader on the left is authorized to view all settings, but can change nothing. The security administrator in the middle is authorized to manage Defender and security alerts, but cannot touch email routing. The Exchange administrator on the right manages mailboxes, but cannot alter global security policies. RBC ensures tight, secure operational lanes. We must move beyond static authorization. It is not enough to simply ask, is this user in the finance group? We must also ask, is this user in the finance group? Accessing our data from a secure corporate laptop from a known location at a normal time. This is where conditional access comes in. Conditional access is the brain of Microsoft 365 authorization. It evaluates millions of real-time signals before opening the door. You can build strict if/then policies. For example, if a user tries to access a highly sensitive SharePoint site and they are using a personal, unmanaged iPad, then authorize access, but restrict their session so they cannot download or print any files. If Enter ID detects that a user's sign-in risk is suddenly high due to impossible travel, conditional access can instantly revoke their authorization until they pass a strict multi-factor authentication challenge. It makes authorization context-aware. This visual breaks down the conditional access engine. On the left, we have our real-time signals flowing in, the user's location, the health and compliance of their device, and the AI-calculated sign-in risk. The engine in the middle ingests all this context instantly. Based on your policies, it dynamically routes the authorization. A trusted scenario routes to the bottom for seamless access. A medium risk routes to the middle, forcing an MFA challenge. A high-risk anomaly routes directly to the top, slamming the door shut and blocking access entirely. Even with RBC, having administrators walk around with permanent, 24/7 elevated privileges is a major vulnerability. We call these standing privileges. To eliminate this risk, Microsoft offers Privileged Identity Management, or PIM. PIM enforces just-in-time authorization. Under PIM, your IT staff holds standard user accounts most of the time. When a network engineer needs to change a firewall rule, they must actively request to elevate their authorization to a privileged role. PIM steps in and demands a business justification, forces a fresh MFA prompt, and can even route the request to a manager for manual approval. Crucially, this elevation is strictly time-bound. The engineer might only be authorized for 2 hours. The moment that timer expires, PIM automatically strips away the admin rights, returning the account to a standard user state. This ensures your most critical enterprise controls are locked down unless actively and legitimately in use. Let's trace the PIM workflow using this sequence diagram. The IT staff member initiates the process by requesting a temporary role elevation from Enter PIM. PIM suspends the request and notifies the IT manager. Once the manager provides human approval, PIM signals the M365 backend to grant the temporary authorization. The IT staff member completes their work. Notice the automated action at the bottom. Exactly 2 hours later, PIM intervenes and automatically revokes the authorization from the backend system. The security perimeter rebuilds itself without any human intervention. Authorization isn't just for humans, it is vital for software. In the modern workplace, you will constantly integrate custom workflows, third-party SaaS tools, and AI agents into your environment. These applications interact with your data through APIs, primarily the Microsoft Graph. To secure this, we use app registrations in Microsoft Entra ID. When a developer builds an app that needs to read a user's calendar, the app must be registered. You, the administrator, configure exactly what that app is authorized to do by defining specific permission scopes. You give the app a digital identity like a certificate or a client secret so it can authenticate. Most importantly, you control admin consent. If a third-party app requests the authorization to read all emails in the entire company, you must review and explicitly approve that request. Treating application authorization with the same rigor as human authorization prevents silent data exfiltration. Here we see the authorization path for an application. The third-party app attempts to connect via the Entra ID app registration. First, the system validates the app's secret key. Then it moves to the scope check. What is this app asking to do? Because it is requesting sensitive access, it routes to an admin review. Only after human governance approves the specific scope does the app reach the Microsoft Graph API. From there, the Graph API securely serves up the authorized tenant data. The app remains securely boxed in by its registered permissions. Let's apply all these authorization concepts to a high-stakes, real-world scenario. Your company is executing a confidential merger, and a hybrid team of internal executives and external consultants needs access to a data room full of financial records. Step 1. We don't grant individual permissions. We create an M&A review security group in Entra ID and add our users. Step 2. We authorize that group with strict read-only access to the dedicated SharePoint site. Step 3. We layer on dynamic authorization. We build a conditional access policy specifically targeting this M&A group, mandating strict MFA and enforcing a session control that completely blocks the downloading or printing of any files. Step 4. The IT engineer setting this up uses privileged identity management to temporarily elevate their own role to SharePoint admin for exactly 1 hour to build the site, leaving no standing privileges behind. We have perfectly executed zero trust authorization. This final diagram showcases a perfectly engineered authorization architecture. At the top, the IT admin uses PIM for temporary setup access, ensuring their own least privilege. The human actors, both external guests and internal executives, flow into the M&A security group. As they attempt to access data, they hit the conditional access gate in the center, which aggressively enforces MFA and blocks all download capabilities. Only after passing this dynamic check are they routed to the SharePoint data room, where their group membership restricts them to a read-only authorized view. The data is entirely secure.
To find related ebook and other material for this training course, go to quicktechie.com. Now you will see all the video courses are available here. So let's move to the ebooks. You can go here, ebooks, all AI related ebooks like you are watching currently mythos related training. That ebook would be uploaded under this section. You can download this ebook. PDF would be available, all 300-page PDF. So you just click on the download this entire ebook. You can download from this section. So whatever training you are currently listening, corresponding ebook would be available. We have thousands of ebooks available. Now, other than that, we have on video courses which you are watching right now. This also all AI related courses are available. Similarly, for all company related trainings are available like Microsoft. You can find it here with their respective certification training modules. All exam simulators which would help you to get the certification preparation. Just refresh if you get this kind of error. Okay, so now you can see these are all certification preparation materials. Will also be click here to the NVIDIA certification preparation material. So you can see all NVIDIA certification preparation materials, and click on any of this and it would load the entire screen and you can launch the practice paper. So this is what you can see, that you can submit the answer. We have an audiobooks available. Okay, so for each section, and these are our alumni who can you can find out all alumni who are accessing our portal.